As I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen.
In a fiery, jaw-dropping speech that shook the entire nation, newly elected Prime Minister Mark Carney stood tall against threats from Donald Trump and his ambitions for Canada. In front of roaring supporters, Carney ripped apart the lies, the bullying, and the betrayal. Trump tried to break Canada, but tonight, Canada fought back and won. This is what happens when real leadership stands up to tyranny. Welcome back to the channel. If you want more brutal takedowns and no-nonsense truth, make sure to subscribe and smash that bell. The spark for this political firestorm was ignited when President Trump intensified his attacks on Canada, openly threatening their sovereignty. As the transcript reveals, during his victory speech, Carney made it clear.
Not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never.
These weren't vague fears. Trump made moves that rattled the very foundations of Canadian politics. From aggressive tariffs to comments about making Canada the 51st state. The panic Trump triggered wasn't met with weakness. It galvanized a national resistance inside Canada. Mark Carney, a political newcomer but a global economic heavyweight, grabbed the moment and turned fear into fire. The result? A stunning election victory that shocked the world and humiliated Trump's influence at the northern border. Meanwhile, the conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who had once been seen as the next sure-thing prime minister, might crumbled. Desperately tied to Trump's toxic brand, Poilievre had already modeled himself as a Trumpian, as the Financial Times editor pointed out.
Etc. His opponent had this sort of Me Too Trump line, Canada first. Carney.
In a normal year, that slogan might have worked, but with Trump openly threatening to annex Canada's economy, the Canada First rhetoric backfired spectacularly. As the panelists explained,
this race, and Poilievre, because he'd already sort of presented himself as essentially a Trumpian, he was in a prison not of his own making. And when Trump starts...
He was trapped, unable to distance himself from Trump without looking like a coward, but equally unable to defend Trump's attacks without enraging Canadian voters. Poilievre lost his seat. The conservative landslide that had been forecast just months earlier evaporated in real time. The backlash wasn't just political, it was emotional. Canadians felt betrayed, furious, energized. Mark Carney didn't just tap into that anger, he channeled it into a positive vision. On stage, he declared,
We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
He didn't just blame America. He called for Canada to rise, to unify, to protect its own.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves. And above all, we have to take care of each other.
It was a complete reframing of the crisis. Instead of fear, Carney offered courage. Instead of division, Carney offered unity. The panelists marveled at his political instincts.
Carney changed it into Canada Strong. And thereby became the patriot in this race. And Poilievre...
That shift crushed the conservative narrative. It wasn't about isolationism. It wasn't about following Trumpian nationalism. It was about defending Canadian identity, fiercely, proudly, and together. And that's why Carney, a man who had never run for office before, stunned the world by securing a full term as prime minister. Not because he attacked his opponents ruthlessly, but because he defended Canada fearlessly. The ultimate bombshell wasn't just the election result. It was the collapse of decades-old assumptions about Canada's relationship with the US. In his speech, Carney didn't sugarcoat the truth.
One of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open...
That one sentence shattered illusions that had guided Canadian foreign policy since World War II. He continued,
The system of open global trade anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. These are tragedies.
Carney wasn't making vague warnings. He was signaling a new era, a Canada that would no longer rely on Washington, a Canada that would stand independent and unyielding. In a single address, he buried the old dream of seamless US-Canada cooperation and announced a cold, hard future. Partnerships would be earned, not assumed. Trust would be built, not gifted, and Trump's betrayal would not be forgiven. And just when the crowd thought Carney might ease up, he landed the final blow. With rising emotion, he declared,
These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality. We are over.
He didn't flinch. He didn't offer false hope. He told Canadians the brutal truth and called on them to meet the challenge together.
Take us forward.
We have to look out for ourselves. And above all, we have to take care of each other.
Meanwhile, Trump's puppet in Canada, Pierre Poilievre, watched his career implode. The man who had bet everything on mimicking Trump's brand of nationalism was left speechless and humiliated. As analysts noted,
it really galvanized a national movement inside Canada to push back against America. But boy, it happened in just a couple of months.
It did, and I mean, his opponent, who lost his seat, by the way, Pierre Poilievre.
An unprecedented fall from grace. One moment he was the presumed next prime minister, the next he was a footnote, a casualty of Trump's overreach. Carney didn't just win the election, he buried the old political order with it. Trump tried to break Canada. Instead, he awakened it. If you're fired up after seeing this incredible moment, hit that subscribe button now. We're just getting started, and you're not going to want to miss what comes next. Stay tuned, stay strong, stay free.